Welcome to today's Test Talk. Today we will be talking about a new tool, a predictive model for test case executions. My name is Daniel Carrera Pinero, and I'm a quality assurance analyst. And here with me is Brianna Tornhill, automation analyst and one of the leading engineers in this project. Hello, Brianna. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for joining me today. We've been developing this tool for the past couple of years, so I'm glad that we got together so we can talk about it.
Could you start off by telling us what a predictive model is and how can it be applied to an engagement?
Sure. So a predictive model is a process in which we're taking recorded data and using statistics to get informed predictions about unknown events. So we see this in different real life scenarios all the time, whether it's with weather forecasting or even with traffic trends. And how we use it with testing is we're going to take our test execution data and we're able to get different metrics and visuals, including but not limited to our testing completion date.
Very cool. So could you tell us what are some of the benefits that can be derived from this predictive model and what value does it bring to an engagement?
Before I talk about the benefits, let me talk a little bit more about the outputs you get from the model. So you're going to get that testing completion date like I talked about. You're going to get other metrics like your average test completed each day, your most productive day, your least productive day, the tests you have left in your scope to complete. And then you're also going to get these other visuals like your daily trend of testing or your whole trend of testing, let's say, which is going to show typically a downward trend if you're completing tests each day and passing them. But of course, you'll see an upward tick if you're deciding to add tests to your scope, right? You'll also see another visual, which is going to show your daily and weekly productivity trends. And so you'll see a line graph that's going to show, hey, we're really productive on Monday, and let's say we're not as productive on Wednesday, and you'll see a downward tick in that line graph. And how this is going to benefit and bring value to your team is it's going to give you the ability to actively manage your team and regulate any changes you may be thinking about. So that testing completion date, you're going to know, am I ahead of schedule? Am I not going to make my deadline? And then you can take that information and decide, do I need to add some more resources to my team? Do I need to cut some tests to my scope? Hey, we are way ahead of schedule and we've been thinking of adding these few tests. Can I add these tests to my scope?
So what would be needed to start running the model? What are the inputs needed for the model?
So we've created an Excel template that makes it pretty simple. All you're going to need is your total number of tests in scope, your testing start date, your testing completion date, so your deadline, and then you're going to want to have a track of the day you're testing and the test that you have passed that day. And we're also going to see a scenario in a second here where we're going to have a testing manager. He's going to be wondering whether or not he can add some tests to his scope, because when he first ran the model, they seemed to be ahead of schedule, right? So then he's going to run the model again with their same execution data, but adding some tests to their scope.
Cool, that was a very interesting demo. Thank you. It really shows that the tool has versatility in its use. A situation that I have seen colleagues encounter in projects is change in scope, which has an effect on the overall time that the project requires. So seeing this model shows that it can be used to run what-if scenarios, and you could see the impact that a certain quantity of test cases can have in the overall timeline of the project. So I feel like having a tool like this in a project can be really very helpful.
Can you talk a little bit about the model setup and complexity with some of the projects we've worked with?
Sure, I'll first talk about how the model started and what it's needed for it to run. So the model initially started as a single Python file that was being shared around. And this created complications because every user's local environment is different, resulting in different interactions with the dependencies and packages within the file. So the next step was Docker. And Docker is an open source virtualization tool. It downloads an image of the original Python file. So the dependencies and the packages are all downloaded at the same time, and the model is able to run. So in order to set up the model, only Docker and the Excel file are really needed.
Awesome. Can you speak to some of the future enhancements we could look to see with the model?
So currently, factors such as the workdays, team size, complexity of testing, defect quantities during a cycle are all implicitly calculated in the model. So moving forward, those factors will become explicit for the user, allowing them to input those external regressors.
Cool. Well, thank you, Daniel, so much for joining me today. And thank you all for watching this test talk. For more information about predictive modeling and test execution, please find our white paper in the link below. Thank you.